So as I already mentioned, we have an intriguing and enlightening discussion on the benefits of the keto diet with Dr. Zana K. Dr. Zana K is a distinguished surgeon affiliated with the Royal London Hospital, with expertise in surgical procedures and patient care. Complementing her medical profession, she is also a successful entrepreneur, managing a diverse property portfolio spanning across the United Kingdom. With a deep-rooted passion for promoting healthy lifestyle and overall well-being, Dr. Zana K is a dedicated advocate for the keto diet. Over the years, her dedication to this dietary approach has positively impacted the lives of countless individuals, helping them achieve optimal health and wellness through a ketogenic lifestyle. Dr. Zana K's multifaceted contributions in the healthcare industry and property sector demonstrate her unwavering commitment to improving lives and fostering prosperity in various domains. Dear audience, for this session, please feel free to write down your questions in the chat directed to me, Rubaiyat, with your email address, and we will get back to you with the answers very soon. I'd like to welcome Dr. Zana K, and we are going to proceed with our discussion on the benefits of keto diet. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So let me welcome you, and once again, thank you. I cannot thank you enough. So we're here to explore the keto diet and shed light on its various aspects. May we begin by asking you about the story of how you started your journey with the keto diet?
Of course, I'll try to make it short. So rewind to 2015, I was working hard. You know how hard it can be when you work as a doctor in a hospital. Shift work, it was hard going. I was overworked, stressed, overeating, and I was obese. So I had tried all diets under the sun, calorie restriction, trying to move more, eat less, the California beach diet, anything you name it, I had tried except this one diet that I had come across. And it went against everything that we're taught in med school because it was a high fat, low carb diet. And I thought, having tried everything else, why not give this a go? If I harm anyone, it will be harming myself. So I embarked on it thinking that I would do it for a couple of months, lose the weight, and then go to a healthy lifestyle. But then once I started keto, the pounds melted away, obviously, but I, as a lifelong sufferer of migraines, got rid of my migraines. I felt more energetic, and I have a condition called seborrheic dermatitis, which is a kind of dandruff that comes and goes. And I lost my seborrheic dermatitis. I had a general sense of well-being. I was healthier, so I decided to stay on it. Fast forward 6-7 years, and I'm still on it.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So now let's delve into understanding how a keto diet works. Could you please shed light on the primary principles of how the diet is done and the principles that drive its effectiveness?
Well, the diet is basically a high fat, moderate protein, and a low carbohydrate diet. The principle is that we use our stored body fat as a source of fuel. So we burn it, and in turn, we lose weight because we lose the fat. So when you embark on the keto diet, you restrict your carbohydrates to 20 grams per day, which is not easy, but that's what pushes you into a metabolic state called ketosis, where you burn fat for fuel. And your metabolism changes from being a sugar burner to being a fat burner. And you just lose the weight and you gain whatever benefits you can along the way.
Beautiful, beautiful. but there is often a stigma or misconception associated with a keto diet. So what could be the reasons behind the negative perceptions some people have when they hear about keto diet?
Well, there are several things that make people think that keto diet is unhealthy. Because we associate dietary fats with being fat, when we say that keto diet is a high fat, then people automatically gasp and they say, oh my God, a high fat diet cannot be good for you. So that is one aspect where it is stigmatized. Another misconception people have is that it's a high protein diet and it's going to harm your kidneys. In fact, my mother has this recurring and ongoing misconception. And it's a very popular misconception, but keto diet is not a high protein diet, it's a moderate protein diet. And even if it were a high protein diet, in a healthy individual, high protein diets do not really harm healthy kidneys. And the third and probably the most enduring stigma is that because it's low carb and people think that we need sugar to survive. So the common misconception, the common question is, if you don't have enough carbs or healthy carbs, then it's unhealthy and you will not be able to sustain it. You will fall down, you will faint. But again, once you understand the principles of the keto diet, you will understand that the body doesn't only run on sugar, it can run on fats as well. So that's another misconception. And also we have another popular misconception that I would like to mention, that it's a very bacon and butter diet, that, you don't eat any vegetables, everything comes out of a packet, which is again, another misconception.
That's very enlightening. Thank you for explaining that. So, understanding what to eat and what to avoid is vital for success of any diet. So, can you provide insights into the types of food one should focus on and those that one should be avoiding while following a keto diet?
Of course. The principle is very simple, really. You just eat whole foods, real foods. So you eat meat, you eat fish, you eat vegetables, you eat seafood, and you don't eat anything that comes out of a packet, preferably like pasta or any of those packaged, instant foods or frozen dinners. You don't eat grains, which a lot of people, again, have a problem with. And that's basically it, really. It's real foods, it's whole foods. So you avoid things like potatoes, pasta, sugar, and anything with preservatives and additives in it. And as anyone who is health conscious would know, that having sugar is not really conducive to health. So that is what the keto diet follows: no sugar. Again, having anything with additives and preservatives, colorants is not healthy. Keto diet does not advocate that. So it's pretty wholesome, really.
Wonderful. That's really great to know. So often there is a concern regarding special dietary preferences. Can you shed light on whether it's feasible for individuals who follow a vegetarian diet to adopt the keto diet?
Some vegetarians are also pescatarians. So fish and seafood is a good source of protein. So those vegetarians who are pescatarians would be able to do keto without any problems at all. There's no hard and fast rule that you must eat meat on keto. Some vegetarians who are not vegans, obviously, they eat eggs. So eggs are a good source of protein. Then if you're a vegan and you don't eat eggs and you're not a pescatarian, then soy is also another good source. And as you know, soy has been used for many, many decades, or let's say centuries, in the Indian subcontinent. So there are ways to fulfill your protein requirements, even if you're on any special diet.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. So, can transitioning to a keto diet bring about side effects? And how can individuals manage potential side effects or symptoms during the keto adaptation phase?
The most common side effect of the keto adaptation phase is when you're moving into a keto diet and your body is adapting, changing its fuel from sugar burning to fat burning. is what is known as the keto flu. So when the keto flu happens, people feel dizzy, they may feel nauseous, they feel weak. Commonly, people think this is due to the absence of sugar in their diet. So they will think that, oh, my blood sugar is low. Interestingly, it's not blood sugar that's low, but it's the salts that's low. Because when you stop carbohydrates, you lose glycogen, which is the stored carbohydrate form in your body. And as you lose the stored glycogen, you lose water along with it, and you lose minerals like sodium, potassium, magnesium, and that makes you feel that way, and you get the keto flu. If you supplement with these minerals or electrolytes, as we like to call them, then you avoid this side effect completely.
Wow. Now that's really good to know. And also there's evidence to suggest that the keto diet can indeed benefit one's mental well-being. Can you provide insights into whether the keto diet can positively affect one's mental state or cognitive abilities?
Yes. Often, when we eat a large meal during festivals or during parties, and I'm sure you've gone through that as well, you get a food coma, don't you? So you eat a huge meal and then you just flop on the couch and you think that, okay, I'm not moving from here, right? So we all have had that. We've experienced of that. Also, there are times when we have this crash and we need a candy bar or something sweet to lift us up, and then we have a temporary sugar rush and then we have a crash again. And with that crash or that fatigue comes a mental fog. So this is when we don't really focus on anything, brain is not really working, you're just in a state of a haze. So when I transitioned into keto, after I fully started burning my fat, one of the most interesting things that I noticed was clarity, mental clarity. I didn't have these lows that I needed to supplement with sugar. I didn't have highs and then lows or food comas where I would just lay there because my belly was too full and I couldn't move. On keto, I eat as much as I want. I eat when I want, when I feel hungry. And interestingly, this has given me a clarity. I've always been a spiritual person, but being on keto has sharpened my focus and my cognitive abilities to such an extent that I find myself to be more mindful. And I also find myself not rushing around. When we rush around in our head, but not get a lot of stuff done. And I have found that I don't do that anymore. I have not only more focus, not only more clarity, but more stability as well. And I think that has improved me as a person because I don't feel the need for pick-me-ups, or I don't experience that kind of fog. And I am more or less stable and sharp in my focus. And when I am mindfully thinking about something, I feel that I can do a better job now than I used to before.
That's really wonderful because oftentimes, more often than not, diets focus on the body. But it's really, really wonderful to know that keto provides mindfulness or enhancement of mindfulness, which caters to our mental well-being.
That's right.
Well-being.
And it's not just myself. I have mentored a lot of people into their journey through keto or transitioning into keto and making it, I don't like to call it a lifestyle. I don't like to call it a diet. I think keto is a lifestyle. And all of those people have told me at various times that, yes, they do feel that they have more focus, they are calmer, and they have more mental clarity on keto because not only are they mindfully eating, they have a better understanding of their bodies eventually. And this helps to settle them in some way, and they're happier for it.
That's wonderful news for beginner meditators and spiritual aspirants who are trying hard to make the flow of thoughts, the chitta vritti, come down. So this is a wonderful way to get into it and integrating food and eating habit into spiritual life can have wonderful benefits, because even if we're not the body is what we operate through. So that's really beautiful. So I have a last question, and a short one. Maybe I'll go with that one first. It's a personal question. We've been talking about candies and sugar rush. So I was wondering if there is any way in which we could have the taste of sweetness in a keto diet, maybe alternatives to sugar, something that we could, substitute the sugar with to sort of satiate the sweet tooth. Because I'm sure a lot of us, that's a pitfall for a lot of us.
Of course. In fact, it's a pitfall for me as well. In fact, I still have a huge sweet tooth. And sometimes I think that if not for some natural sweeteners that I do use, if not for those, I don't think I would have been able to sustain, because there are times when you just feel the need to have a piece of brownie or a cupcake or some ice cream. And especially, I think with women, we probably crave these things more. And for me, there are some sweeteners that I prefer, and one of them is stevia. It comes from the stevia plant, and I have used it time and time again. And the other one is erythritol. It's a sugar alcohol which comes from fruit, and it also tastes sweet. And these sweeteners, while they are a bit less sweet cup for cup than the sugar that we're used to, the funny thing is, once you're on the keto diet, you become more sweet sensitive, so you need less sweet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
I always have on hand in my freezer a ready supply of cupcakes, ice creams, and brownies that I keep and I make with these sweeteners. And I've been, like I said, on this diet for almost 7 years now, and I've not had any adverse effects with them. And yeah, for anyone who indeed, you don't even need to go on a keto diet. If you want to give up sugar and you want to replace it with something else, these sweeteners are actually good alternatives.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so my last question is about tracking progress. So how frequently should individuals monitor their progress, and what specific indicators should they focus on to gauge their keto journey?
Well, in the beginning, and one of the most, let's say, blunt instrument indicators would be your weight. So assuming somebody who wants to get rid of excess weight, they would monitor their weight. And that's what I used to do at first as well. When I used to see the weight melting away, it would give me motivation. So that was a good indicator of whether I'm in ketosis or not. Sometimes I would either by mistake or by design fall off and have a, let's say, carb heavy cheat meal, and the weight would pile up again because it's mostly fluids. And that would indicate that, oh, I'm out of ketosis. I've gained, let's say, around 2 pounds of fluid overnight. So it's not fat, it's fluid, but it does indicate that you're out of ketosis. Then when you're a bit more savvy, then there are strips that detect ketones in your urine. So you just dip a strip in the urine, and then there are color marks that indicate what range of ketones are being excreted in your urine. That after a while on ketosis, the ketones in urine kind of disappear because your body becomes more efficient at using the ketones and they don't excrete as much. Then there's another good indicator, and this is the one I use now, but I wouldn't recommend it for the queasy people, is the blood indicator. So pretty much, you know how the diabetics test their blood sugars? They prick their finger and then there's a strip and then they put it in a machine to detect their glucose. It's exactly the same, only the machine detects your blood ketones. And that's a good way to monitor. And the frequency would be anything you would set for yourself, really. I mean, I know in my more enthusiastic days, I would do it daily. You don't have to. You could do it weekly. You could do it when you're in doubt, whether you're in ketosis or not. It's entirely up to you. But the best indicator, I would say, is your body. Because if you mindfully listen to what your body is telling you, you will know whether you're in ketosis or not.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. Mindfully listening to what your body has to say. Oftentimes
That's
we
right.
do that, and we sort of dig a lot of holes for ourselves and not listen
Yes.
to our bodies. Wonderful. That's beautiful. So, um, I was also thinking about intermittent fasting. Would intermittent fasting be a good strategy to put together, integrate with keto diet for enhanced benefits?
Actually, you know what? It is. And a lot of people drift naturally into intermittent fasting. That is because they don't feel the need to eat so often. What they do is they skip breakfast. So if you have dinner at 7 and if you skip breakfast, the next meal you'll eat is your lunch. And there you have the intermittent fasting. You probably fasted 16 or 17 hours that day without even feeling the need to eat. And I have seen in myself and in others that I have mentored that they just drift very naturally into this. And there are also times, like with myself, I have done extended fasting, and some of them I've done with you actually, where we fast for 24 hours or 48 hours. And aside from a few hunger pangs, we don't really feel the need to eat and we feel good. And funnily enough, in these periods of long fasting, I have felt more connected with myself and with, I would say, my surroundings. It might sound strange, but it has happened to me where I felt in harmony with myself and in harmony with my environment just through the act of fasting. And no one told me to do an extended fast, like no one told you to do an extended fast. We just have done it because we felt like it. And not only is this a good strategy to lose weight for those who want to, I think it's also a good strategy to get to know yourself and to be at peace and in harmony with yourself and the people around you, your whole environment.
Yeah.
So, in answer to your question, yes, intermittent fasting, I think, goes very much hand in hand with the keto lifestyle.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. My biggest takeaway from your everything that you have said has enlightened me so much. Uh, it has been so knowledgeable to know that it is a diet that looks out for the holistic well-being of not only the body, but also the mind. So as I was saying, the biggest takeaway for me is that it creates mindfulness and
Yeah.
also that it does away with cravings as you keep going and developing the habit more and more. Wonderful. Thank you so much. So
Thank you very much
yeah, any
for having
parting
me.
thoughts, Dr. Zanake, before you leave? Anything that you
The
want our audience to focus on the most when if they're thinking of starting the keto diet?
one thing I will say, only because you talked about cravings, is in my mind, cravings represent an unmindfulness state where we're just thinking very superficially, acting just on impulse, but not delving deep into the cause. And keto helps us to get rid of those cravings. And this shows that it's actually good for you to be mindful about what you eat, which in turn reflects this mindfulness all across your life, in your lifestyle. So, what I would like to say is that although there might be a lot of stigma attached to it, if anyone is interested or even intrigued, for them to do some research on it with an unbiased mind, because keto will not only connect you to your health, it will also connect you to mindfulness. And I think in today's day and age where none of us or most of us are not mindful at all, maybe this is something we need to take note of and adopt so that more and more of us can be mindful and more of us can be connected to each other.
Absolutely. And the way you phrased craving, the definition of craving that you put out, makes me think about desires arising from the ego, right? So when
Right.
you're mindlessly letting the activities of the chitra vrittis, the ego, sort of grasp you and hijack your sensibilities and your understanding, then it kind of leads to everything, you doing everything that you shouldn't. Craving is sort of the same. When you're craving, it's not necessarily out of hunger. It just could be something that your stress, your hormones, and other functions of your body tell you to do, leading you to overeat, stress eat, emotionally eat. And that's never any good. That never helps. So that was a beautiful session. Thank you so much for talking to us about the keto diet. It was really, really interesting to understand how it is linked to mindfulness and also creates a sense of calmness and meditativeness for the ones who are on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. It was lovely having this discussion with you.
Questions?
Would you like to take questions maybe? We wanted to do a written question format, but maybe if you want to take one, I think we have a question from Tanjir. So maybe if you wanted to take one question, would you be okay?
Sure, I'll take one question before I go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Just one thing. I've had this discussion with a medical professional, and they're saying that keto diet comes with danger of poisoning, possibly out of ketosis, forming acids,
Ketoacidosis?
Yes, and I don't think it's particularly good for the diabetics, because it might, they need to have foods in certain intervals, otherwise they would just have a fit, or can be dangerous, right? Would you
Well, the thing
advise
is,
on that?
there are two words that are so similar that they are sometimes mistaken for each other, and they are ketosis and ketoacidosis. Ketosis is a physiological state where you're burning fatty acids, which are turning into ketones, and you're using them for energy. And ketoacidosis is a situation that occurs in diabetics where their blood sugars are very high, and they produce ketones in that state as well. And those ketones are also very high. And this situation occurs concurrently. So very high blood sugar and high ketones equals to ketoacidosis. But ketosis is a state where your blood sugar is normal and your ketones are also moderate. And this does not occur normally. This will only occur in a diabetic whose diabetes is uncontrolled. So the word uncontrolled is the important bit over here. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that wonderful question. Thank you, Dr. Zana K. It was wonderful. I'm so very grateful to you. This has been a wonderfully informative session for all.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm grateful for you that you've invited me and had this lovely discussion with me.
Thank you.